Hello everyone, welcome to Ageless Rock, a megalithic channel where megalithic fans can see megalithic sites with a megalithic sense. Sleman Regency of Special Region of Yogyakarta has many megalithic temples, and Kedulan Temple is one of them. Java Island has many mysterious megalithic temples discovered in the early part of Europeans in Indonesia history. Many temples were rediscovered 100 or 200 years ago, but Kedulan Temple is special. According to Cultural Heritage Preservation Center, it was rediscovered as recent as 24th of September 1993. Kedulan Temple is 168 meters above sea level. It is about 22 kilometers from the summit of Mount Merapi, which is an active volcano. The root word for Merapi is api. Api means fire in Malay language. So you can imagine Javanese saw fire on a mountain when erupted. This temple is believed to be constructed in the 9th century during the reign of Mataram Kingdom. It is called Kedulan because it is in Kedulan hamlet in Tirto Martani village. But Kedulan Temple is not 100% in Kedulan hamlet. When I zoom in, it is actually sharing border with Pundang hamlet. So far, approximately 4,000 square meters has been excavated, and it looks like the main shrine and more areas are in Pundang than Kedulan. This site was accidentally discovered by a group of sand miners. As they dug about 3 meters deep in a large area, they kept finding strange blocks of stones, which turned out to be the typical polygonal stones of megalithic monuments. One of the sand miner by the name Sriyanto reported to Cultural Heritage Preservation Center of Yogyakarta. A rescue excavation was initiated immediately, and research for excavation was carried out between 15th and 24th November 1993. The excavation was organized by Cultural Heritage Preservation Center of Yogyakarta in collaboration with Gajah Mada University. During the early excavation, it was discovered that the main temple was buried 8 meters below ground level. They didn't find the main temple until they were digging at about 6 meters deep. It wasn't until the year 2002 that 85% of the materials found were identifiable and therefore qualified for full restoration. Restoration was completed in 2018 for main temple and 2019 for 3 Pewara temples. According to Sumundul inscription and Pananggaran inscription dated 869 AD, there was an exemption for land tax for Pananggaran and Pariyagan village to build dams, irrigation, and a sacred building called Tiwaga Harian. There was no specific mention it was a temple. This temple is 8 meters tall. There are 2 different dimensions of the platform you can find on the internet depending on where you take the measurement. I think it must be 13.6 meters at the lower base and 12 meters on the upper base. The main shrine itself is 4 meters by 4 meters and it sits on a square platform. It has 3 Candi Pewara or ancillary temples on the east side. This is a typical structure you can find in Hindu megalithic temples. The north temple has a linga, the center temple has a nandi, while the one on the south has a pedestal with nothing. What if I tell you, in Mexico, we have the famous Pyramid of the Sun? This enormous structure also has a 3 pyramids layout facing the front. By now, you can see this is an impossible coincidence separated by distance and culture. Do you think this is a coincidence? What if I tell you Khufu and Menkaure in Egypt, Temple of the Feathered Serpent and Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico, Prambanan Temple and a few more in Indonesia all have the same idea for layout? I find this something worth investigating. According to a stratigraphic study by Pramo Mijovo, the excavation revealed that the temple was 8 meters below ground level with 14 layers of lava soil. Each layer is interpreted as one volcano eruption by Mount Merapi, so that means each layer on average is only about half meter deep. Look at the description of the stratification. There are more mentions of sand than anything to do with lava ash. Does that even make sense? At a glance, I think this temple is covered in sandy soil rather than lava soil. It is mostly about sand. That is why the sand miners were here. From Google Map, the furthest place I can pin is Bukit Kelangon. It is about 20 kilometers away. The slope in the red box shows that it is impossible for molten lava to reach even near Kedulan temple, even if it was to flow in one direction. Assuming it was built on 869 AD and Mount Merapi erupted in 1006 as what is believed, lava ash would have covered only half meter of the structure. There is no reason to abandon the entire awesome temple when all you need to do is clean up the mess. Instead of cleaning up the mess, did ancient Javanese actually really let it covered by another eruption? Even with 1 meter lava ash and soil, it is still relatively easy to clean up compared to the work of smacking bedrock and chisel them into polygonal shapes. This ridiculous scenario repeated up to 14 times. The ancient Javanese who were capable of shaping bedrock into polygonal stones from unknown quarry found it too hard to clean up volcanic ash, and so they abandoned it without a trace and never bothered to use that skill to build a simple house for themselves. If Kedulan temple was covered up to 14 times by lava ash over several centuries, and Hindus actually abandoned it, then where are the nearby structures that suffered the same fate? How did ancient Javanese mysteriously reappear and started living 8 meters above the original level with no clue what happened here? This is not the only 8 meters tall and below ground level temple. Sambisari temple, which is 3.3 kilometers away, was found 6.5 meters below ground level. There is no mention of how many layers of stratification, but I would expect it to be 100% same. If not, it would be another mystery. I think there is a very good chance that eventually archaeologists will agree in the future that it was deliberately covered just like the temples in Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. By the way, the T-pillars at Göbekli Tepe are on average 6 meters tall. That's something to think about. According to a research using geomagnetic method to identify buried archaeological objects around Kedulan temple, they found out that there is a magnetic anomaly. It usually means that there is something that is made of metal and it changes the magnetic field, and therefore it is worth digging. Magnetic anomaly is common in megalithic sites such as Pumapungku in Bolivia and other sites around the world. That means the unknown ancient builders used the same method of stone shaping technology that creates magnetism in the rock. Excavation is not as easy as you think. There are many challenges. Because it is below ground level, this site looks like a pond with an island during a rainy season. Today, you get to see a very nice version of the temple because many of the blocks were replaced by new and modern blocks. The blocks were cut with modern tools to fit the missing gap. This painstaking process takes a long time and is done one block at a time due to its polygonal nature, where every block is different. Kedulan temple is not as simple as what we think. Mount Merapi presumably erupted 15 times and buried only one megalithic temple up to 8 meters high is highly unlikely the event that took place. Let's pause for a moment and think. If the Egyptians of Giza were to do this, it could be done in one day. I don't know how long it took the Javanese to build, but if in 1006 AD Mount Merapi eruption caused the Javanese to abandon it, why don't they just clean up the mess? Why do Javanese prefer looting? Someone accidentally rediscovered it in 1993 and no one had a clue. Did the ancient Javanese actually use it for 1 century and abandon it for 10 centuries? This narrative of 990 years abandonment is pretty wild for me to absorb. I need a cup of Java before my head explodes. Excavation is still ongoing and 4 temples were already reconstructed by 2019. I believe there will be more to see in the coming years. Hope you have enjoyed this short presentation and I will continue in the next presentation a little bit more on this ancient sunken temple. This is Berniong signing out. Sekian, terima kasih.